Hi, everybody, and welcome to a members moment for today with Fida. And we've got the amazing Melanie Walker with us today. And Melanie's been a member for the last year or so. And her work is, I guess, we'll see a bit of interest from her fashion skills, her fashion knowledge. And I guess really over to you, Melanie, and you can give us a good overview of your history and where you are now.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Patrick. Hi, everyone. So before I share my screen with some images, I'll just go over in a nutshell my background so you understand my journey coming into and back to drawing and illustration. I did my foundation course at Wimbledon College of Art. And there was an amazing platform for me to explore all sorts of different avenues. I thought perhaps I was going to go into fine art, and I ended up specialising in fashion. However, I had a deferred entry from school to go and do history of art at Nottingham University. And I ended up taking that because I knew going into the fashion industry, it was going to be 150%. I had to want to do it. So I went to Nottingham, had the most amazing time for one term, and then realised it was a wrong move. I was sat in the lectures loving the artworks I was looking at, but it was more learning about the history of the time and the people in the paintings, whereas I wanted to know more about the art itself and how it was created. So I decided to leave. I didn't go back for the second term. I reapplied, redid my portfolio, and utilising that year before I went to do my degree in my BA in fashion design. I went to Bristol UWE. I actually lived in Florence for 3 months doing a fantastic course with Charles Cecil Studios, where you really go back to the intrinsic techniques of the masters drawing from life. And it was absolutely phenomenal. I'd love to do another one of those again. And I only did like the 3-month summer course, and people go out there and study for 3 years. But that was amazing. And that was a really indulgent time where I could really concentrate on my drawing. So then I went to Bristol UWE and I did my BA there. And by that time, because I had left Nottingham and taken a different turn, I was 100% committed. I worked really hard, pushed myself, and I met a fantastic group of people who I am still friends with now in the industry. When I graduated, I had a work placement with Roland Murray. And then I got a job there as his development manager. So I worked with Roland for about 3.5 years, I think, 3.5, 4 years. And that really was a grounding in the industry for me, because it was a small company at the time, and I could see from beginning to end of product, which was such a valuable experience. At the end of that time, I really felt like I wanted to move into design and work within that field rather than just the development and production. So I freelanced for a bit with Jonathan Saunders. And then I got my first design job at Matches, heading up their Fida line. So I did that freelancing for around, I think, 1 year, and then full-time for a year. And then I remember meeting some friends of mine at a show and Roland at a show, and he said, "Oh, Mel, there might be an opportunity working with Victoria Beckham," because at that time he was working under the same umbrella company. And I met Victoria and we started to work together on her project, which obviously now has grown considerably. And I worked with Victoria as her designer for, gosh, I think it was 9.5 years, just shy of 10 years, which was a phenomenal experience. I had the privilege of building my own team, bringing on experts I knew in the field to support me. And it was an absolute pleasure and phenomenal experience to see a company grow so quickly. Every 6 months would be new challenges. It was fantastic. And then I had my children, my first child, and I fairly quickly, within the first year or two of him being born, moved into consultancy. I was looking for something a bit more flexible. And so I have been consulting in the industry since 2017 for brands such as Paper London, Hester Bly, Powerlita, Jordan Luca, I now have 3 children. And it was really when I was pregnant with my 3rd child in 2020 and lockdown happened that I really started to evaluate, what do I want to be doing work-wise? Where does my passion really lie? And I really wanted to draw again. I really missed drawing. And also it was obviously quite intense looking after my 2 boys, pregnant with my 3rd child in lockdown. And really I used drawing as a form of escapism, which in a way taught me how much that I really need to still be doing it. And I followed a lot of fashion illustrators on Instagram. And I saw that they were logging on to these, online sessions and online classes. And I thought, this is perfect. This is something I can do while I'm pregnant and huge. I can do this at home. And so I started that in lockdown. I started up an Instagram account, gained some traction, got a lot of interest from my friends, which was fantastic. And so now I work as, I still do some consulting work. I work as a fashion artist and illustrator. And I part-time teach at Institute Marangoni in Shoreditch, which I love. So I tutor the 3rd years there. So that's a little bit about my background. Let me share my screen now and I can talk you through some of my work. Here we are. So I start with this slide because really coming back to lockdown, where I reignited my passion for drawing. Amy with an I was somebody that I did a lot of classes with, or sessions with, and I really liked her energetic poses. I found them really inspiring, and it was lovely to draw at speed again. So she works where she will have a theme for the session. So for example, 80s or cabaret, and she will do a multitude of poses from 1 minute to 20 minutes. So these poses here, I think were around 10 minutes, probably. These poses here were more like 1 minute, 2 minutes. And actually, I would like to come back to doing more of this work. I got a lot of interest from these particular sketches. I think it's something to do perhaps with the freedom and the simplicity. And I really enjoy working at speed, and I work a lot with charcoal for that reason, because I find it quite free and easy to express movement with. So drawing cabaret couture was another fantastic platform that I got into in lockdown and beyond. And they are more visually extreme, and some of the designers they use and work with are super interesting. And so you can see that the poses and the expressions are more extravagant. So here I'm trying to work more with ink, colour, and the one on the right is more pencil. Here again, drawing cabaret couture, these works are charcoal and pastel. And here again are just a final selection, which I think are really interesting to look at and really express my love of working at speed. You can see I love line, which is something that I'm trying to actually work moving away from, and perhaps looking more at painterly techniques. But I love a minimal line. I've always admired the work of Giacometti, Picasso, people like that who can just draw at speed through the expression of one pure, simple line. So then I started to build my own website. I launched my website in December 2021. And through that, I sell original artworks and prints, framed artworks, and also a selection of cards. So that was fantastic to get that started as a promotional platform that I use, where people can go to and see my artworks clearly, but also to sell my artworks. So Fida, I joined, I think it was a couple of years ago now, and that really has helped me build a network really, and have a platform where I can talk to other artists, ask questions, enter competitions, enter critiques, and I found that super, super helpful. So thank you, Patrick. These are 2 works that I had entered into the Fida Awards and were shortlisted for, which was lovely. Tiffany and Fida. So these were 2 out of 3 Tiffany artworks that I responded to a brief from, which I really, really enjoyed doing, and actually got me more into looking at faces and portraiture, which was fantastic. So you can see here again, it's very linear based, but I'm trying to understand how I'm adding colour and highlighting the Tiffany jewellery. This was an artwork, an illustration that I'd done in response to a crit with Fida over the Schiaparelli show for Paris Couture. Again, here I was really trying to free myself a little bit more because I'm aware sometimes my lines are quite tight and neat. So I'm trying to look at that, look at blurring of the lines a little bit and the freedom of the charcoal. The Holy Art Fair. So with the various prints that I sell through my website and original artworks, I thought, let's try an art fair and see what the response is like. So I've done one art fair with the Holy Art Fair. I did that back in March, April, which was really fantastic. I think it gave me a real boost. I got a really good response from friends, but also people that I've never met before who have bought my work. So that was really, really encouraging. And I will be doing the Holy Art Fair again in October, which I'm super excited about. It's at a different venue this time. The first one was at the Oxo Tower, and this one will now be at the Truman Brewery. So I'm really interested to see how I get on there. And I really enjoy actually meeting the other artists as well and seeing what other artwork is around. Fashion Scout with Fida. This as well was a fantastic experience and I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the last one, so I'm hoping I can make another one soon. I'm obviously very used to fashion shows, the chaotic aspect of backstage, so I felt very comfortable being backstage, but it was very different for me to be sketching. So it was really interesting to see the type of work that I came out with under pressure, time pressure, and trying to be focused with the materials I was bringing. So I kept it really neat to charcoal, crayon, and I think I had a couple of paint pens and inks. These are a few works in response to Fashion Scout that I did more at home, where I wanted to try and experiment more with acrylic paint. I like working with acrylics because it's fast, it's colourful, and it's quick. Having said that, one aspect I do want to try and delve into more is oil painting, which I have done in the past. But that's something that I feel I need a bit more time for. So yes, here you can see charcoal and acrylics, which was really fun to get the colour going a bit more. And lastly, 2 private commissions. So I had one commission for Audrey's Cafe, which is in London Bridge, which was producing a series of 4 illustrations surrounding cafe culture and the cafe theme in my linear style. So that was wonderful and really exciting to do. And the last image I have here is a private commission for Vanessa, who is a model within the fashion industry. She modeled a lot for McQueen, actually. And she really loved this image and wanted me to illustrate it and portray it. And we worked together and she looked on my website and pointed out some certain artworks that she loved. And so I combined that within the brief with this image. And yeah, that's the end. Those are the end of my slides. So I hope that's helpful to see my journey.
Yeah, great, Melanie. If you want to unshare, if you want.
Yes.
I haven't seen that image you've done where the Fashion Scout image where you've painted it with the blue shoes.
Yes, I did that one when I got home. Yeah.
Yeah, which I really like that you've started to really fill in the spaces, and it almost breaks it up a little bit, because I know, we spoke about these hard lines and stuff. I guess there's a place for everything and how you compose it and how line, like even thinking of how Tracy Emin works, drawing on the backs of paper with inked up card, and it could splinter the line. So the line, I think, is a battle for everyone. I think you know, how you deconstruct a line, how you draw a line, and I always, when I, because you know, working with fashion designers and some fashion designers, and you can see it, is the confidence, and there's such confidence in the line drawings, and sometimes a confident line can, I remember feedback I used to get was the lines are too confident.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that's some of the feedback I was giving to you from my experience, that they were like, you need more fragility in your line, which is kind of almost holding the pencil at the end and trying to draw and learning to have that sort of very almost fragile line that feels more spontaneous rather than more confident. And I think that was one of the things that I had been told many times, because you become really confident in your line. And then I ended up just drawing with my left hand. So I can see us, you know, I can see the similarities that you have to me. And I think it's, you know, we're here to pass on knowledge and sort of transfer knowledge all the time. And I think the confidence is really there. And I think in certain places, I really love them Audrey illustrations. And I can imagine them in a small book, or, you know, with stories or poems or things like that. And that they really work well. I've been looking at Jason Brooks's drawings as well recently.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in that little space, but you can see he's also using more of a really soft pencil that feels quite broken. You know, when you look at Warhol or someone like that. So I feel that's the sort of reference points of drawing, and obviously Hockney. We all love Hockney.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting what you say, because I do also feel that when I'm working on a commission, I know I tighten up instantly. Whereas when I look at some of the sketches that I've done where I'm drawing at speed with Drawing Cabaret Couture or Amy, they're super fast and super expressive. So somehow I need to sort of fuse the two. And it is going to be things, you're right, like drawing with my left hand or holding the pencil in a different way and timing myself. And to get that, an expressive sense of movement back.
Yeah. But on the flip side is, you know, looking at them Audrey pieces, which I hadn't seen, they really made it clear to me that they work. So in the right context, I think they work. And I feel that when they feel more narrative and editorial, they really work well. And I feel
it's true.
That I like them there, where when they become more arty, I'm trying to, because if you think about an artist, they want the emotion to be there. And you know, we had Poppy Wadilove speak, and she has a very confident line, and what she does is she tends to just use it more as a gestural line, so it has the confidence. And I think as you're bringing the brush in to bring that gesture in.
Yes,
I feel
exactly.
that maybe the stroke of the line has that similar vein. So use a pencil like a brush. And I feel that may, but it's really nice to see them Audrey pieces, because I feel that your drawing communicate really well there. And that's a really nice space. Like if you thought about the life of Karl Lagerfeld and you wanted to illustrate his life, I feel that style of drawing would really work. And it would really look nice in that sort of a book context, and I could really imagine it. So I feel that as a creative, like I was speaking to someone this morning, it isn't always that the style is wrong. It's just that the style needs to suit this different space.
Sure.
Yeah, because sometimes my feedback is you're too arty. So you're like, oh, now I've gone arty. Now no one likes it. So now if I go backwards, I have to go back to the and you're kind of just running around in circles, lost. And I think that's the hardest part of, and then you end up, you know, your confidence goes or something. So you're kind of lost in all these spaces of just drawing, and you feel like, and then one day someone says, oh, I really like that. And you're like, oh, right. I just thought that was terrible because of the last customer or something. So it is hard drawing. And I think that putting it in the right context is what is good to see your work. You know, when I saw it in a different context, I was like, oh, that really is good. And then when I saw the person with the blue shoes and the more painted in, it really works for sort of documentary illustration at a show where it almost feels like you've made the drawing and then you've gone home and it's quickly colored in and you've just blocked it in, but it feels like, oh, that could have been done in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was planned. And I feel that there's a real space now to do many of that.
Yeah, sure. I totally agree. It's just, finding that time to push it forward.
Yeah.
But it's exciting because I feel that too. And I feel like it's there.
Yeah.
It's just getting it there.
Yeah. It's all it is the context. I think get the context right. And then the art will fit into them sort of spaces. And you'll go, all right, for that thing, it's that, right? And then this is for this. So you have your different modes of working for different space. It's nice to have one style that covers it all, but I just think sometimes you're not that character. I'm not that character. That does for that. Then there's another style that does for this, and you kind of move around. And I feel that shifting isn't a bad thing. I think shifting styles and like you've done animals and things like that. So that's been quite playful, quite fun, and it almost disconnects from fashion drawing, but it's still got a fashion twist to it. You're not worried about faces and all that garbage, and I feel it brings a bit of happiness back to the work.
It's true, and I really enjoyed doing that series actually, and it was my children that inspired me to do that, because I thought, oh, I'll go at their Christmas fair and I'll bring some of my artworks, but I thought I can't just bring my fashion stuff. I've got to bring something child-led. So it was really through them, and I really enjoyed it. It was really fun thinking, what animal and what show am I going to put together?
Yeah, and I think it'd be nice to think about fashion and design as more animalistic, and all the characters that go there, and if you had to revert them into being animals, there's so many famous artists who've converted stories into poker games and smoking, and where you had the dogs and the bulldogs, and you could kind of go, that could be quite a nice sort of a bit of fun, like, because it always feels so serious. And it would be great for you to go to Fashion Scout and almost convert all these people into animals. They might not be happy, but you've got your target, and you're thinking about, oh well, is Zandra Rhodes a bird, or what animal would she be if she was an animal? Would she be a meerkat? You're kind of thinking about all this sort of badger. I don't know. That's sort of your area, but it could be quite an interesting way to see things, and then that could end up with working in the Financial Times or something. You never know. And
it's a really interesting tangent, isn't it?
Yeah, and not many people are doing it.
Yeah.
So you've got to think about what becomes your thing, and that's the hardest quest. And it is just going, I've had enough. I'm going to do something different. And you've kind of teetered off with what's childlike, like feeling like Roald Dahl or someone like that, Quentin Blake. And you said, you know what, I'm doing what I want. We're going to make it playful. And I think fashion is too serious. I feel we feel scared to and I get weird feedback if I put something up and people go, that doesn't feel like it should be in the fashion realm, and I'm like, tough. It is. I don't know. One of my plans is to do an anti-fashion illustration project where we draw bad. And sort of go against the grain of it, and almost looking at Ralph Steadman, all of them sort of illustrators who I love, who have sort of died off a little bit, but were amazing drafts people. And I feel that we need a bit of that, because I feel like fashion is everyone's too scared to ever do anything horrible, because they're going to be, you can't come, the door's now shut.
I know, and it can be so heavy at times, I think.
Yeah, so these are my sort of crazy plans, and I feel that pushing against the grain sometimes can be a thing. It may not be good for you, but I feel that as creatives we need to do it, and I feel that we need to have our place and our voice at the at the show. So I guess I'm sort of looking forward to, and I tested some of this. Like I actually used Midjourney and put in how would Ralph Steadman draw Margiela, and it was amazing the outcome. So I was going to post some of the
Yeah, I'd
illustrations.
love to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, they were amazing, and it was really early when DALL-E 1 was about, and I was playing with AI to see how they would tackle it. So, I guess from a drawing side, it's nice to see you sort of on this quest and keep pushing and promoting it. And as you know, it's just a journey, and you have to kind of keep chugging away. As we said, juggling, it's like a juggling act.
Yeah.
And we're all there, all doing it, and it's and we're lucky to have you as well, because you've got a great history in fashion as well. So you've got good experience.
Well, I really enjoy it, and I enjoy being a part of Fida too, because it's such a fab platform to be able to, brainstorm and talk to other people, and then the juggle of consulting work and teaching too. It's a melting pot of information, isn't it? And being aware of the bigger picture. So I think that's all good.
Good.
Yeah.
Anyway, Melanie, brilliant, and thank you. And it was great to hear what you've had to say in your journey, and I'm interested to see how you kind of put different things into different places and fit it in with your time. I think that's going to be your hardest challenge.
I know. Tell me about it.
Good. Anyway.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, Patrick.
Super. Thank you, Melanie, and have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.